Yes, but where are you?
So you can't see me?
Can't see you.
We can hear you. We can hear you, but we can't see you.
Okay. My connection is really unstable. This is so pathetic. I'm so sorry, guys.
Just yellow, right? Because I'm going to quickly check the fire, make sure it's still going. Hang on. Yep, we're good. Rafa, the connection
Can you see
looks
me?
better. Yeah, yeah. But as soon as you speak, it kind of freezes.
So can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I don't know what's happening with my connection. This is so pathetic. This is the first time it ever happened. I blame
It's
it on
working
carousel,
now.
Mark.
Right?
Yeah, but the thing is, I can't. Your images are frozen. It's not consistent.
What?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Yep.
Okay, I can't. Yeah. Maybe I should switch to a StreamYard.
To what?
StreamYard is another live stream service.
Okay.
Let me see if I have any luck there. 1 second. See, I can't because my internet connection is not stable. It's very slow.
I
So
think you
screwed up.
seem, yeah, you seem to have some bursts. Like you're doing all right, and then it
Your what?
freezes, and you seem to come and go in
Yeah,
bursts.
that's what. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm. What's happening? Okay, 1 second. Let's try another one. Meanwhile, what's happening in the world?
Let's see. Prince Philip died, and Meghan wasn't invited to the funeral.
Meghan is not invited. Karma.
Right.
Karma, karma, karma.
All right. So he said that he will reboot.
Oh, okay. I totally
Reboot
missed that. I was looking at my reflection.
He will reboot again. This will be more than 5 minutes.
That's all right. So what do you do, Mark?
Besides pageants, I
Yeah.
work somewhere. I work
Oh,
somewhere.
okay.
I
Well,
work
that's fantastic. You
in a
can work
financial
from home.
institution. Yeah, I do.
Wow.
I'm just lucky. One of the lucky ones.
Right. So you're on lockdown for 14 days?
No, I've been on lockdown for the entire year almost.
Oh,
I haven't been going
my
out.
God.
I haven't been
Oh,
going out
wow.
because it's really dangerous outside. So I'm just at home working. This is my office.
Right.
And
What's
that's it.
the deal? Why? I mean, what is it? Are people not wearing masks? Are they not doing social? What is it? What's not working?
I don't know, but I think Filipinos are abiding by the minimum health standards. It's just that I guess it's very difficult to prevent a virus without the vaccine. I think that's one. So we really need to be
Right.
vaccinated. So
Right.
and people are still, Filipinos love gatherings. So
Right.
they still
Of
love to
course.
gather in small groups.
Yeah.
And if you gather, no matter how small it is, there will still be a risk of infection. So
Right. Are they rolling out the vaccine now, or are you guys
yes,
still waiting? Right.
they
Okay.
are already rolling it out. I already had my vaccine last April,
Oh, wow.
first week of
Okay.
April. So
how long do you have to wait before your second round?
a month. So my second round would be
Okay.
on first week of May.
Right. So hopefully they'll not lock you guys down anymore after the majority of you get vaccinated.
Hopefully, let's pray for that. Let's wish for the best.
Right. Yeah. I know my dad's itching to go back. But it was hell trying to get him home here. So I don't know why he wants to go back, but whatever.
So it's not advisable to go back. So just stay wherever he is. So
Right. Well, we can't leave the country unless we have government permission to do so.
mhm.
And we can only leave the country if we're out of the country for more than 6 months. Issue is there's no planes going in and out of the country because we're not allowed to go anywhere.
Yeah. So I guess it's the same here. In the Philippines,
Right.
you're not allowed to go out without government permission.
Okay. Right. Well, the beauty queens seem to have no problem getting permission leaving the country and competing. So how bad can it be? Yeah, we haven't been able to send anybody. The government just kept saying, no competition, whatever, you're staying. It's not considered essential travel.
I guess so.
Yeah, here in Australia, they've got different they have a different way of looking at these things. In Australia, nobody takes a beauty queen seriously.
Really?
Yeah. It's a bit of a joke. So even with the media stuff, when we try to get a television interview, they never take us seriously. It's always, it's never a serious interview.
Too bad. Is it okay?
Yeah. It's just different priorities, I suppose.
And I think it is also cultural. Something to
Right.
do with cultural differences. So unlike us here in the Philippines, beauty queens are considered as spokespeople, so spokespersons. So
Right. Yeah, I get that. I get that. And that's something that, we'll never do well. We will, yeah, Australia will never do well again. It's just, we don't have the support here. But whatever. We're happy watching everybody else do well, so it's all good.
It's okay, at least.
Right, right. Our girls get to go on holiday when they go and compete. They get to leave the big island. So that's all that matters. Yeah, we get to mix with the rest of the world. Whatever. It doesn't matter if we win or lose. We're good. Yeah, I don't think this connection's going to work for Rafa. Oh my goodness. I don't know what's going on.
Same here.
Yep, it's definitely Rafa. If you and I can talk like this, our connections are fine.
Exactly. You're coming in smoothly here. I think it's his connection.
Right. I do like those flags behind you, though. That's so adorable.
Philippines.
That is super cool. Next live stream, I'm going to put a big Australia flag behind me. The boxing kangaroo. That's a good one. Yeah, I'll go and do that. I got to go and look for it.
Please do so. So at least we have something in the background.
Right. Rafa should have told me. Give me a little bit of notice and I'll do it. So do you need permission to go out to the shops and buy your stuff?
Only one person per family is allowed to go out. And they're given a pass. They call it a pass, quarantine pass, to buy everything.
Wow. It's like we're living in a war.
It is. It is.
That's crazy.
But at least we're allowed to take or to do our exercise. But it has a time frame. I think it's 6 a.m. until 9 a.m. After 9,
So
you have to go back inside your house.
Wow. Okay. And then you have to show a pass when you're out.
Yes, you have to show a pass if you need to buy something.
Wow.
Unless if it's an emergency. There was this one time when my brother had to go out because we had to buy something, a medicine. It's an emergency. They can do that.
Yep.
But if it's not an emergency, you shouldn't be going out.
Right. Okay. Wow. You guys must have cabin fever, like something serious.
Yeah. We've been inside our homes for quite some time.
Oh, wow. A year.
At least for me, a year. But for others, I think some of them are allowed to go out. Some people that are workers who are considered as essential workers could go out.
Mm-hmm. Right. This must be good for the environment, though, less traffic on the streets, less congestion. Because that's what I noticed here in Australia. Less planes going in and out of the country. The quality of the air is different. The water's different. So surely there must be something going on where you guys are that you would have noticed.
Actually, traffic is less. Air pollution, air quality is better. And of course, noise pollution is better as well. And there's less trash.
Less
trash.
Oh, less trash, of course. Okay. So if you have balconies, you can go out onto your balcony.
Yes, of course you can.
Yep. Okay, right. So it's not as though you have to stay indoors. You can't open the windows, or it's not like in China.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can still do that. You can open your windows, stay in your balcony, as long as you don't go out. I think the one that they're really preventing is interaction, because if you interact, the virus will be easily passed on from one person to another.
Yeah, of course. Do you have any figures on how much or how many of the population's already being vaccinated? Are we talking double figures or?
I don't have the figures for the entire country, but at least in Manila, where I stay, there have been, I think because they started the rollout of the vaccine, I think this last week of March, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
They have already covered around 30,000 people, at least
Okay.
30,000. And
Right.
Manila has over, I think, 200,000 families. So still a lot way to go. They've been
Right.
prioritizing the healthcare
Elderly.
workers, the elderly, and the ones who are susceptible to getting the disease. So far, they are, I think, on their third stage. I think they
Okay.
will be focusing on the frontliners, the third frontliners, if I'm not mistaken, it's the police and the military here in Manila, at
Okay.
least in Manila.
Okay. Right. Okay. Wow. There's a lot of people that's going to be needing that jab and it's going to get that jab. We're good over
Doing-
here. We'll stay on our island. No problem. It's like,
Just
we'll
tell
wait for
them
the
to
rest of
just-
the world.
Exactly, don't travel yet.
No, none of us are traveling. You stay where you guys are. Get your vaccine. We're good. Poor Rafa. And how long have you been working for Miss Earth?
Not working for Miss Earth. Oh yeah, quite some
With.
time
So,
for
working
with
with.
Miss Earth.
Yeah.
Around 4 years,
Oh,
4 to 5
cool.
years.
Right. How do you find it?
They are very accommodating, very friendly, very professional as well.
Yeah, okay, cool. When was it? When was the last time I was in Manila to attend Miss Earth? And who was it? It was the year that Diana got dethroned. And then we went to Manila together to watch that.
What
When
year was that?
Oh, was it 2015?
Hey guys,
Was it
can you see me?
Hi.
Okay, this is so pathetic because I'm using my iPhone, believe it or not.
Well, this is better.
My iPhone is better than my laptop. And you know what? This is so ridiculous. And I do apologize. I apologize to all the viewers that are watching right now. I apologize for all the delay. But you know what? Things happened unexpectedly. And this is just one of them. This is the first time in my life, ever since I've been using Zoom for almost a year, that this has happened. And it's unbelievable. So I do really apologize. But let me just set up some more stuff here. 1 second. We're live on YouTube
Rafa,
right now.
I told you what this was about.
We're currently live in YouTube, so I don't know how much I've missed since you guys started chatting with each other. So yeah, there were supposed to be 5 of us tonight, but Hector could not make it because he has to go to the hospital for an emergency. Not because of him, but because of his mother. So we're just hoping that she'll be fine. And then Phil, what's wrong with Phil? Oh,
Another emergency.
Another emergency.
Yep.
So Mark, before you came in, Peter and I were joking. Peter actually suggested, "Oh my God, this is the Miss Earth curse." So don't kid around. This is serious, okay? So. Yeah, so I mean, accidents happen. We all know that. I mean, there's certain things that they're beyond our control. So anyway, hold on a second. Let me properly greet the whole world. Hello, everybody who's watching Critical Beauty Salon at this moment, tonight or tomorrow or afternoon, wherever you are. We are going to have a discussion about 2 major. Well, that word, by the way, is very subjective. But anyway, I'm going to say it anyway. 2 major beauty pageants, Miss Earth and
Major,
like Venus Roy would say, Miss Earth and Miss Grand International. So, since we don't have since we don't have Phil and Hector, we do have a new guest, and his name is Mark Gatchalian. And Mark, I would like to ask you if you could introduce yourself and then tell us a little bit about your background and how did you get started with pageants and how you got involved with Miss Earth, please.
Hello, thank you so much. Hello to the viewers. I am Mark Lee Gatchalian. Just call me Marky or Mark. And I've been covering pageants specifically, I've been covering Miss Earth for 5 years, 4 to 5 years. And outside pageants, I am an executive in a financial institution. And I got into pageants. I've been into pageants for quite some time. I was just an observer. But then again, I had an opportunity to connect with Carousel Productions to create an article about Miss Earth. And then it all started from there. And ever since I've been covering, I have a group of people who has been covering Miss Earth for 5 years. And when I say covering, we are referring to the international pageants, the local pageant in the Philippines, and other franchises globally.
Okay. And when did you start being involved with Miss Earth?
Roughly around 2016, 2017.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And I think I barely heard when Peter asked you how is the Miss Earth organization treating you, and you said that they're treating you very well.
Yeah, they're very professional, very friendly, very accommodating. So they are treating me very well. The entire group.
Oh, okay. All right. That's good to know. Okay. Well, as you know, Miss Earth began in 2001. And the first time I heard about this pageant, I did not really take it seriously, because my first reaction was, oh my God, here we are, another pageant. Okay. Like, what is wrong with people? I mean, and I said to myself, you know what? This pageant is not going to last. I'm going to give it like 3 years tops. And after that, it's going to disappear from the planet Earth forever and ever and ever. But we're at 2021, okay, 21 years later, and it's still going on. And I said to myself, oh my God, Rafa, I think you're foolish to think prematurely about Miss Earth, because you didn't realize that this pageant could have so much impact and influence. And now I think I gave it 2 more years. I think by the year of 2005, I wrote that Miss Earth officially dethroned Miss International as the 3rd biggest pageant on the planet.
Yeah.
Yes. So because I was by 2004, Miss Earth production really started to impress me. And I didn't realize, oh my God, this is actually an amazing pageant, and a lot of countries are taking it seriously. So that's why I invited you, you, Mark, specifically because I know that you have worked with Miss Earth, the organization, more than anybody else, and so you may want to convince us. I mean, at least to those critics who still believe that Miss Earth is not really a major pageant, and that Miss Earth, has had some controversies compared to the other pageants. And, we want to know, how you feel, what you think about the pageant, and what do you say to the critics? Now, my first question to you is, do you think Miss Earth is a major pageant?
Okay. Before I answer that question, I'd just like to share first that I came in here and I said yes to this conversation is because I don't want to, my goal really is not to convince critics to consider Miss Earth as a major pageant. My goal is to set and clarify things about misconceptions about the pageant. So that's one. So that's my purpose. And of course, to share to the best of my ability what I know about the pageant and going ins and outs of the pageant. So that's one. Another one, just to answer your question, do I think Miss Earth is a major pageant? It is a major pageant. There are factors to consider before we even claim that a pageant is a major pageant, which is why you said it's quite subjective. It is really true. And it really depends on the person looking at it. But the reason why I consider Miss Earth as a major pageant, number one, it is known globally. And when I said globally, when you say Miss Earth, they really know, and there's a recall, okay? And not only that, if people who are not even related to pageants know you, and they recall you, it's already a big thing. So
Right.
that's one. Next would be consistency. When I say consistency in producing winners who are true to their causes and true to their advocacy, then I would say that it's a check mark on that aspect. Okay, so another one would be the number of delegates as well. So that's another factor you could consider. The production could be a consideration, okay, but on top of that, you also have to consider the integrity of the organization. So I think for me, Miss Earth ticks all those boxes, which is why I consider it as a major pageant. And probably a question that we need to ask ourselves: who considers a pageant a major or a minor pageant? So who's the
Correct.
authority? Right? Who's the
Correct.
authority? The answer to that
Exactly.
is no. Right now, no one is the
Correct.
authority. So
Right.
there's no single entity which can claim that a specific pageant is a major pageant or a minor pageant. They are not the World Health.
100%.
They are not the World Health Organization or the Center for Disease Control. There's no such thing in pageantry,
Correct. They
right?
don't have that
So
with us.
they
Yes,
don't have that.
100%.
So there.
Okay. Peter, would you agree with Mark?
Yeah, actually, there's a lot that I agree with what Mark said, and there's
But wait a minute. But Peter,
yeah.
did you not have the similar reaction, like initial impression that I had?
Absolutely. Initially, yeah.
Okay.
I think the beauty of a discussion like this is we're coming from all different angles. We come from different truths and reality. You and I saw something completely different with our experience, which is why I really appreciate Mark being here, because I think it's important for us not to be an echo chamber, like you would say. Especially with the views and the angles where Mark is coming from, which I 100% appreciate. Now, in terms of what Mark had said, that's something that you and I have discussed, something that I've discussed with many people. Who is that government body, governing body that says these are the top 5 or top 3, and these are major pageants? There is no such thing. We don't have a governing body in the pageant industry that would name such things. It's different websites and different forums declaring these things, and really, one has no greater authority than the other. We seem to be limited to this top 3, top 4, top 5. As far as I'm concerned, we could have 10 major pageants. I mean, it's a pageant, for goodness sake. So we could have 3, we could have 4, we could have 10. So why would we limit ourselves? Why can't we celebrate everything and everybody? Now, I do have my criticisms and my issues with Carousel and with Miss Earth. I think a lot of my criticisms and a lot of my concerns come from a place of, it's like when you want someone to do well, you tend to be harder on them than others because you know that they're capable of greatness. They're capable of doing so much more. If I was a parent, if I had kids, that's what I would be doing to my kids. I would be hard on my kids, knowing that they could be better. It's never the criticisms never come from a place of being mean or superficiality as such. It's always things that I would like to bring up, so that hopefully Carousel could take it on board and and be a better organization. So one thing that I definitely give to Miss Earth is they listen to their fans. They listen to their fans, and that's a fantastic thing. And I know Miss Grand do as well. But I have to say, out of all of the pageants, from what I've seen, Carousel and Miss Earth have been at the forefront of listening to their fans, taking the temperature of the room and of the industry and responding accordingly to that. I think Miss Grand and all that have had the benefit of that and have followed suit. But I will give that to Carousel. They listen to their fans and their audience.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. That sounds fair. Okay. I may not necessarily totally agree with you because, you do realize that I have criticized Miss Earth a few times in the past.
Oh my God. I have criticized Miss Earth a lot of times.
Mark,
but I think this is
Mark,
it's good to have Mark.
Mark, before you got involved with Carousel, were you also critical of Miss Earth before?
Yes,
Come on, be
I was
honest.
critical of Miss. Yes, I was critical to Miss Earth before. I was critical of their production value. a lot of things. But here's the thing: when you criticize someone, you have to make sure that the right people are listening.
Right. Right.
That's the technique. And
Right.
when you criticize, and I agree with what Peter said. When you want to say something, it's coming from a good place. The intention is really good because you want them to do well. Therefore, if you want these criticisms to really reach the right people, then you have to talk to the right people, which is what I'm doing.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I totally agree, because a lot of, like, especially the crazy fans, they tend to believe everything that they read on social media, on the internet. And rather than actually checking with the primary source, they tend to rely on tertiary or even, really inferior, non-reliable sources. I mean, I used to do that. A long time ago. But then I realized that, what, if you want to know the truth, you really have to dig deeper and deeper. Just do your research. Okay, that's a fair assessment. Thank you for your honesty. I appreciate it. But okay, so we have decided that the whole concept of a major pageant does not have to rely on an official body or organization that actually dictates that which pageant should be considered major, minor, or whatever. But because I think Miss Earth is now a major pageant because it already has established its own tradition. It has its own traditions. It has attracted a lot of countries. Its cause and its advocacy is very, very relevant even to this day. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I read someplace that Miss Earth is the only pageant that is acknowledged by the United Nations or World Health Organization. Is that true, Mark?
That is true. It is the only pageant that is acknowledged by the United Nations Environmental Protection, UNEP, which is why every time a queen wins, they are invited in a UN talk. They're given space and airtime to speak about certain environmental topics. So you're correct. Aside from that, if you win Miss Earth, you are the official, you would become a representative of the World Wildlife Foundation, or WWF, and ENO as well. A lot of major environmental organizations. And I think that is why Miss Earth is taken seriously by a lot of countries and different pageants. And it resonates as well in the local franchises that we've been covering. It's quite surprising that the impact of Miss Earth is not just in the Philippines and not just certain regions, but it is impacting communities. Just like yesterday, we interviewed Miss Earth Nigeria, and we were happy to find out that the delegates of Miss Earth Nigeria have their own special projects in their own communities. So imagine the impact. So that's just one of the few benefits. If you win Miss Earth, you are given that platform.
That's wonderful.
Rafa, can I add to that? Can I add to what Mark had actually said? Speaking from my experience working with Kelly Louise McGuire, with Renera Thompson during Miss Earth and what have you, especially when when Kelly Louise was directing and heading the Miss Earth franchise here in Australia. And we've always said this from the beginning, out of all of the pageants, Miss Earth has the most commercially viable brand. Everybody can relate to it. Sponsors will jump on board because it's got that environmental focus. I mean, compared to Miss Universe, Miss World, Miss Grand, and Miss International, which pretty much mean nothing. When you look at something like Miss Earth, this is a brand that other brands would want to be associated with because it's commercially viable. So that's one thing that I will definitely give them. And again, the criticism, I suppose, is because we can do so much more with the brand. Secondly, I think I wanted to say the Filipinos will never allow a brand of theirs to falter and to fall on its face. So I think we have to give credit where credit is due. The Filipinos are an army to be reckoned with, and they would never allow something like Miss Earth to fall flat. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So the country, the culture, the national, the Filipinos will never allow it. They will guarantee its longevity. So I think Miss Earth is here to stay. Is it a is it a major pageant? Absolutely, it's a major pageant. yeah, we've got to give credit where credit is due.
Okay, yeah, I totally agree. But when I um, uh, published my vlog about the 5 things that I hate about Miss Earth, one of them was that some of the winners, they tend to select winners that have mediocre facial beauty.
Right.
And to me, you know, I've been obsessed with pageants since I was growing up, you know, since I was a little boy and stuff and everything. I was always drawn to the universal type of beauty, like especially the Barbie types, you know, the tall, blonde, blue-eyed, you know, sexy types. And that was the type of beauty image that had stuck in my mind. So, you know, so when the first, the first winner of Miss Earth was from Denmark. I thought, wow, you know, she's amazing. To me, she looked like your typical Barbie doll. And then the 2002 winner was almost like the Barbie doll, but with dark hair. But then again, she got dethroned because she just, you know, she failed to fulfill her obligations. And then her first runner-up from Kenya took over. And then, later on, I was not only the winner, but also some of the finalists. And then one friend of mine actually told me, he lives in Canada, Rafa, could you please ask Mark, could you please ask him if he agrees with me, meaning my friend from Canada. My friend from Canada, which I will not mention his name, says that he thinks that Miss Earth started losing its popularity when Athena Imperial made the top 4. I believe was it 2007? I believe. I forget all, you know, my years. But yeah, Athena Imperial was a representative of the Philippines. I remember when she made the top, when she made the top 8, the non-Filipino fans were so brutally negative and attacked her constantly because she was petite, she was short, you know, she sort of like lacked. But then again, that's very, you know, subjective. But when you heard her speak, she was eloquent. Yeah. She knew what she was talking about. She was smart. She had a lot of personality. But a lot of fans tend to focus more on her physical looks. That she was short. She's not really, you know, she has mediocre facial beauty, and she's not the only one. There are other ones that I could mention. But that's one of the qualities that I thought, well, you know, this is not really convincing, you know, for me. Another one, I don't know if you guys agree. Can you comment on that, Mark? Can you comment?
I think one thing that you have to understand is if you are looking at the lens of a Miss Universe, Miss World, or Miss International fan, you will really look for physical beauty. But you have to understand that Miss Earth is not looking for a model. Miss Earth is looking for a spokesperson for the environment. You know what? I'll give you an example. Aside from covering the pageant, I've also had a chance to judge girls. So when I say judge, preliminary judge for 3 years, for 3 consecutive years. And no matter how beautiful the girl is, so this is my impression as a judge. If you don't know nothing about the environment, I would really not give you a high score. Miss Earth puts premium more on, actually it puts premium on beauty, but it also puts premium on intelligence and speaking capabilities. So there's got to be something inside here, aside from physical beauty. So if you are looking at that at the lens of a Miss Universe, Miss World, or Miss International fan, you will be disappointed because your perception of beauty will not meet the expectation, because that's not what the perception of beauty is when it comes to Miss Earth.
Okay. Peter, would you agree? I mean, come on, Peter.
Yes and no.
Yes and no. Okay.
Yeah, yes and no. I think if that was the case, there are certain things that I have felt quite uncomfortable with in the past, such as, you know, doing the whole covered faces and then walking down the runway just in their swimsuit. And do you remember that, Rafa, that competition that they had where all of the girls had to wear, they had to cover their faces, or they had big hats?
Well, initially, this was to judge their physique.
Correct. You know, exactly.
I think the first time they did that, they were all wearing a hat of some sort.
Right.
You know, Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there
Which
seems to be a
I thought that was unusual, but it worked,
right. Yeah, look, it was very, America's Next Top Model, whatever. But I think there seems to be that whole disconnect too, because I think there would have been an opportunity for Miss Earth to kind of rise above that and rise above all the other pageants and just say, no, it's not just about beauty, it's about the actual cause. So for me, seeing it seeing that at the time, I was like, well, what's the connection here, right? We've got we're getting judged purely on the physical, and not even just the facial beauty. It's how your body looks. So I was quite uncomfortable about that. And for me, it's like, what's that got to do with the environment? Come on, guys. So that's just one thing. Yeah. Look, I can appreciate the fact that it's it's not as old as the other pageants, and it's still in a way finding better ways to do things. But um and the disconnection that's going to happen, but that's just one thing that I thought that really jumped at me when Mark was talking about if you're looking at the lens of Miss Universe, Mr. Yes, I get that. In saying that there are certain things that they do there, I was like, oh, what'd you do that for? So yeah, I agree with some of the things that Mark said, and some of the things were like, yeah, let me think about that one.
Okay, that's fair enough. Okay, another thing that really bothers me about Miss Earth is that I don't know if Mark would agree with me, but I think there was one event during the 2018 pageant where some of the contestants complained about sexual harassment from one of the sponsors. Do you remember that?
Okay.
So that
I was actually, I was there to see an element of that when I was in Manila when Renera competed. I was with Miss Kosovo at the time, or just up on the balcony having cigarettes and just having a good time, just hanging out together. And there were a lot of old men that were hanging around and just sitting with us. And just, there was one in particular that wasn't there really to make conversation. He just sat there and stared at her and stared at us. And, just kept saying, come and visit my hotel. Here's my number. Here's my address. And I'm looking around going, where's the security? Is this a major sponsor? And if he is a major sponsor, what has he got to offer? He's kind of creepy, and he wasn't the only one. And I can only speak based on what I've seen and the 2 years that I did attend the pageant. So I think, Rafa, when you and I went, that may have been something that I had discussed with you and mentioned at the time. But that was really creepy. That was super creepy.
Yeah, we
2014,
attended the 2014 pageant. Yeah, at the UP Theater, I think. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that was weird.
That was actually my first ever Miss Earth pageant that I attended. And I made a promise to myself. My promise, okay, Rafa, I need to go. I have to see all the major pageants before I die. So I went to Miss Universe, Miss World, Miss Earth, and my next goal is to actually attend Miss International, hopefully later this year, because they're going to celebrate their 60th anniversary or something. So anyway, so Mark, what do you think of the security measures of Miss Earth? Do you think they lack proper security, or what's going on? Tell us.
In a pageant, in the Miss Earth pageant, they are divided into groups. They're either divided in fire, water, air, or whatever group. Per group, there is a team manager, and per group, they actually are assigned 3 police officers. So when it comes to physical security, I think there's still an area of improvement. Okay, there's still an opportunity for them to improve on that aspect. But when it comes to protecting and siding with the girls, I guess Miss Earth has done necessary steps to ensure that they are listened to and that the complaints are brought in to the right people and that it's documented. So that's what I can say.
Okay. Yeah. Well, at least that's good to know. But I think that charges of sexual harassment from back in 2018, I think that's quite one of those isolated incidents, I believe. And I think there were like 3 contestants who initially complained about it, but then again, there were other contestants who denied that those sexual harassment allegations actually, occurred. So yeah, it's a question of they say, she said, he said,
Correct.
this what. Yeah. So anyway, okay. Well, at least
in the area of sorry to interrupt, Rafa, but in the area of security, I actually wear like a badge of honor, and this is so bad. But the 2 years that I attended Miss Earth, I successfully snuck at the back during the show.
No way.
And even after the show, where is that? Is it in Alabang? The stage?
Versailles.
Right, with the stage over the pool.
Yes.
Yeah, so during evening gown and whatever, I had snuck out the back, no questions. And at the end, I saw the judges, started talking to the judges, even though I had no idea who they are, managed to kind of make my way into the after event too. And that, look, maybe it's just me, maybe it's a talent, I don't know, but successfully broke security the 2 years that I went through to the back. And I just thought, if I could get in, I wonder how many people can manage to do something like that.
Yes.
I even said to the security something like, oh, I just left my phone in there, I'm going to go in and have a look at it. It's like, yeah, I'll only be there for about 2 seconds. And even the girls looked at me, it's like, what are you doing here? How'd you get in? And but I found that in my experience, those were alarm bells. But look, I had a great time kind of sneaking in. I wish I had filmed the whole thing and loaded it up, because I would have been a serial pest by now and probably gotten paid to sneak into other places. But that was a highlight for me, sneaking into places for Miss Earth that I couldn't get away with at Miss Grand. So I'll put that out there.
Well, just to let you know, I was able to sneak in not Miss Earth, but believe it or not, Miss Universe 2019, the après party. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I snuck in the front door when the security guard was not doing his job. I was able to sneak in and then just mingle with some of the contestants and whatnot, took pictures and so forth and so on. Yeah. So is Miss Universe relatively safe? They have a wonderful security staff. Yeah, I would say so. But that was again one isolated incident. So yeah. Nothing's perfect anyway. So.
And here's the thing: the thing with pageants is, no matter what kind of pageant you are in, there will always be creeps out there. There will be people who will take advantage.
I'm a creep.
Right? And it's not isolated to Miss Earth. We also had incidents in Miss World.
Oh my
God! Same thing happened, right?
Yeah.
And one of our queens even made a comment about it, right? So there will be people who will take advantage. This is a beauty. These are beautiful girls from all over the world. There will be creeps who will do things like that. So
correct.
Now, I also noticed that maybe it doesn't happen every year, but sometimes I think like Miss Earth sometimes like come up with arbitrary rules. Like, for example, when you talk about the height requirement, I think they do have a height requirement, which is like you have to be at least like 5'5" or something. But then I've seen like a couple of contestants who did not meet that height requirement, but yet they allowed her to stay anyway. So that's one thing that sort of like bothered me. And then also you have usually they would like send girls from legitimate countries, in other words, countries that are the members of the United Nations or who have actually declared themselves to be independent. But then they accepted candidates from Crimea, which is not really a recognized official country. They accepted representatives from Martinique and Réunion, which are not countries, but they're parts of the French nation. So they're like, overseas French departments. And also, I think they accept like England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. And those countries are not really countries. They're more like political divisions of the United Kingdom. So I don't know. I mean, and also Palestine. Do you remember Palestine? They accepted this Palestine. Like, what the hell? I mean,
yeah.
Palestine doesn't even exist. It's just like a piece of land where other people's like fighting over each other, but it's not really a recognized country. So yeah, that's what like bothered me. So Mark, what do you think of that? Do you think Miss Earth can just accept any country that they want or any territory they want? Because they want more bodies on stage, basically?
Yes, I think there is a need to revisit their rules. And these rules are subject to change. They're not the end all be all. So I agree with that aspect. So
Peter, do you agree?
Agree with you on that.
Yeah, look, it doesn't bother me. Yeah, if anything, it probably exposes the world to the different kinds of beauty that there are, amongst countries and territories and places that a lot of us probably haven't even heard of. So that's not an issue for me. In fact, I probably welcome it for a brand like Miss Earth that promotes environmental, sustainability and all of that. To have that kind of exposure to these different places, that's always a good thing. It looks great on stage. The more girls you have on stage, the better a pageant looks. So that doesn't really bother me at all. An official country or unofficial country, whatever. That doesn't bother me. I mean, gosh, where's Butterstone? The Miss Grand thing that we just had, Butterstone, what? What's
yeah.
What the hell? Where's that place? Yeah, so there you go. I'm all good with that.
Okay.
But you also have to take note, Rafa, that in other pageants they also accept territories. Country, I don't know if they're countries, but they're territories such as Puerto Rico and US Virgin Islands. So
Right, but you know what? Puerto Rico has its own distinct culture, and so does the US Virgin Islands. Because Puerto Rico, primarily, was a Spanish colony, and Spanish is a dominant language. English is taught secondary. So when Hector, if Hector were here tonight, he would be able to educate us a bit about Puerto Rico. But so I think the majority of Puerto Ricans would rather continue being part of the United States, while at the same time being a self-governing territory. And it's the same thing with the US Virgin Islands. Also, the US Virgin Islands has their own distinct culture. So in a way, even though they're not legitimately countries, they think of themselves as their own countries. Anyway, so it's not really up to us to decide. Okay, so I'm just reading some of these comments. Okay, on the YouTube stuff. Okay, somebody says, yes, there are creeps around, but still any inappropriate action should not be tolerated and security should be ensured. I hope all pageants will send a strong message that any such behavior is no. Okay, we all agree about that. Yeah, that's true. Now, okay, I think the number one major criticism that I have about Miss Earth is the lack of proficient interpreters. That really, really annoys the hell out of me. I cannot tell you the number of excellent Miss Earth contestants that have been robbed of the crown because of an incompetent, stupid, idiotic interpreter. I'm sorry, but come on, Miss Earth, do something better. Can you not hire proficient, smart, eloquent interpreters? Hello. You just killed the chances of so many beautiful, wonderful contestants. So, Mark, what do you think?
You know what? I will not disagree with you on that. That's pretty much documented. Will not disagree with you on that. But just to explain to you the process, when a delegate comes in, Carousel connects with the national directors. That's the only point of contact. And they allow the delegates to fill out a specific form. And in that form, it's indicated, would you need an interpreter? Is there a need to have an interpreter? And a lot of these girls would tick no.
Because they didn't understand the question.
Okay. And a lot of these girls would tick no, even though they can't speak full English. And I don't know why. And that is when they come in the pageant, and when it's in the actual pageant on the stage, okay, Carousel usually prepares in advance, but how can they prepare in advance if in that actual form they do not fill out the right information? So I guess that's where the disconnect is. And I found out the process, so that's where it's an area of improvement as well. Yeah, I agree with you. It's well documented. There's an opportunity to really hire more competent interpreters. But so far, in the last 2 pageants, they've been hiring quite good interpreters. And not only that, the girls have already adjusted. I found it really surprising. A lot of them speak English really well. So they really prepare ahead of time. So it's another one.
Was it 2015, Mark, when they had one of the other girls do the interpreting for, was it Brazil or Czech?
I think it was 20.
It was at the UP Theater. Because I was there and I was like,
2014.
Right.
2014. I was there as well.
Right. I was like, what's going on? Why is another contestant doing it for them? I was like, what a great way to screw them up. If that was my competition, I would say something completely different. I'm like, let me screw up your answer.
Okay, I'm sorry, I got cut off.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
I'm sorry, what did I miss? I'm sorry. Because I think somebody was trying to call me on my iPhone, and I wanted to hit, I'm sorry, I don't want to respond, but I ended up the wrong time. Anyway, so.
You missed the most important part of the discussion, Rafa.
Okay, can you give me a brief summary, please, that I missed?
No.
Oh, come on. Be a sport. I'm just kidding.
We were talking about translating, and oh my God, is he gone again? Oh, there you are.
Wait, so can you guys see me?
Yes, you can.
Okay, good.
Yep.
All right, let's move on. Okay, so you guys agree that that horrible lack of interpreters is a major.
Yeah, I think, Rafa, though, what I would love for us to kind of, have a bit of a chat about is this whole rivalry between Grand and Earth.
Yes, let's do.
What is this about? There's just so much vitriol and venom and poison between these two rival pageants that I can't get my head around it. Mark, maybe you've got an insider view on this, or a comment, because it is yuck.
I agree. There is a rivalry. There is some bickering, and I don't know where it's coming from. There are some forces who are trying to, how would I put it? There are forces that are trying to taint the reputation of a certain pageant.
Okay.
And I don't know where it's coming from. So there are even forces wherein it came to a point where they are allowing, or they are attempting to poach national directors to jump ship. And they're using specific tactics to ensure that they get these national directors. So,
all right, Mark, don't hold back. What tactics are we talking about? Come on, no names.
Oh,
you
come
can
on,
tell us about the
name
tactics,
names.
though.
No, I don't want to name names, but this.
Talk to us
Here's
about
the
the tactics. Are we talking bribery?
Some in the form of that, and some would be in a form of bad mouthing. So.
Oh, everybody bad mouths.
And that is distasteful.
Know, right?
And I think that is distasteful. If
right.
you are really confident, if you are a confident pageant, you don't need to resort to that.
Correct.
So, and I think that's where it all started. And here's the good thing about Carousel. I will talk about Carousel. They're very professional. They're very quiet about things, and they'd like to deal with it professionally. So there.
Right. Do you believe that it's very one-sided?
It is one-sided.
Oh, I love it. Rafa, do you agree?
One-sided what? Miss Grant MGI?
Well, yeah, yeah. So look, you and I, we can put it out there. I can understand why Mark can't, but you know, do you believe that Miss Grand is actively out there putting Miss Earth and the brand down and poaching? And um, you know, we're not saying this is what Mark said, but
Right.
yeah,
Well,
It's not what I said.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but the owner of MGI, Nawat Itzaragrisin, was he not a former director of Miss Earth Thailand? I think.
Yes.
And I think,
yes.
correct. Okay. So I heard rumors that he did attempt to poach national directors from Miss Earth. And that's why he was able to draw some countries to his new pageant. And you know what? I don't have any problem with poaching. I really don't, because I mean, how can you prevent somebody from being lured by another pageant? You know what I mean? So, I mean, that's how pageants grow. You create, you network with other people, okay, and then you establish professional contacts and whatnot. And this is one of the reasons why MGI grew, is because Nawat is a very shrewd businessman. Well, obviously he has a lot of money because he owns his own TV station and whatnot, and that's why he is very, very persistent and very determined to make his own pageant much bigger than what Miss Earth, Miss International. And of course, he did introduce the hashtag top three pageant, I guess, yeah. Which I thought, that's funny. It's not true yet, but I think it's funny for now.
Yeah.
But you know what? What I like about Nawat is he is business savvy. If there's one thing that I want Carousel Productions to have, really, is his business savviness. He's very savvy, and he knows his brand so much, and he knows how to sell his brand, and that's what's missing in Miss Earth Carousel. Although Carousel is very established, there's still an opportunity for the production to really sell their brand and protect the brand. I think that's where they could really improve on. They have to protect their brand, protect their reputation.
Correct.
Somehow also have that business savviness. But Nawat is very good with that. He's amazing with that.
Mark, I really like what you said, that protect the brand. I think that's such an important thing. If anything, it's probably so much more important than actually promoting the brand, protecting the brand. In saying that, I am a believer that when it comes to pageants, no hands are clean, right? So I would be very surprised if Carousel was, if we were to say that Carousel was very clean with all of these other things. I'm sure that there are other ways that we can kind of fire back at the other brand without being necessarily implicated. So I think the beauty about Carousel is sometimes they don't have to fight their own battles. They've got an army of fans to do the fighting for them on their behalf. And I've noticed too that when that happens, Carousel does stay very quiet. It's almost like the royal family, don't complain, don't explain. So if something comes out there, they don't necessarily have to comment. They just let it fly. I'm sorry, that was my dog.
Get rid of your dog now.
Actually, I agree with you, Peter. One time during I don't know what issue was that. There was this big issue, and I really pinged Madame Lorraine. And then I asked her, why are they so quiet about these things? Because and according to her, she'd like to really fight the battle in the right place. So I guess that's a strength for this organization. They really like to take it professionally, go with a high road and do it the right way. So that's another strength for the organization.
Look, Julia Morley does the same thing. You know, if something comes up and there's a criticism, she doesn't comment. That's just the way things are. You don't do it. Whereas I find Nawat is very similar to Trump. I think he's the Asian Trump. You know, you come at him, I will come at you as well. I'm going to come right for
Exactly.
you. You know, he is a very controversial personality, and I appreciate that. We don't want to be a boring industry. If he's going to throw things out there, and you know, it's almost an expectation that something is going to happen at a Miss Grand coronation. What is it going to be this year? You know, there's going to be some kind of controversy. If it doesn't happen on stage, it's going to happen a couple of days later. Everything is orchestrated. He's a showman. And I think that's something that a lot of people can appreciate. I think the biggest mistake that we as fans and experts can do is compare the two, because essentially the two are very different pageants. They cater to a lot of different things, but at the same time, it's different pageants. We can't compare the two. It's apples and oranges. So I think going back to the whole rivalry, Rafa, what do you think this stems from? Where is it from? Because do you remember in 2015, even Claire Parker publicly spoke about it and has said, what's going on with all these fans? Why are we fighting? What are we fighting for? And what's this about? And she got a lot of flack from that. So I don't know, Rafa, what do you think? Where do you think it comes from?
Yeah, I do remember that. Well, I think for the most part, you know, pageants, well, it's like football or soccer, as we call, you know, here in America. If the fans are so passionate about their sports, or in this case, you know, their pageant, which originated in their own country, they take so much pride of having this pageant organized by their people. So in a way, the way I see it is that Filipinos and Thais are both very sensitive fans. So the least.
Oh, you're so nice. You're so nice with your words. They're not sensitive.
I was waiting
Filipino
for that,
fans and Thai fans are rabid.
Correct. Absolutely.
I'm trying to be nice, Mark. I'm trying not to offend. You know,
we don't want to lose any Thai fans or Filipino fans.
But we love them. Okay, we love Thai fans. We love Filipino fans,
Absolutely.
Of course.
Oh yeah, we do love it. But you know what? Yeah, it's just like playing sports, because when you know, in England, I know, you know, football is very big, and I know, you know, you've heard of the term English hooligans. In other words, you know, crazy English fans, you know, who cuss and swear and even physically assault, you know, the fans of the other teams, so to speak. But that does not happen in beauty pageants. Filipino fans, Thai fans, Indonesian fans, or any fan could be the most rabid bully on social media or online. But when they actually watch the pageant in a physical setting, they are some of the most behaved, gentle,
Correct.
civil,
Yep.
mild-mannered fans that I know. Why? Because I have observed their behavior a few times. And when I compare them with, let's say, fans from Latin America, and you know, I'm speaking in generality. They generally tend to be boisterous, unruly, very critical. Case in point, Mexico. Remember,
Yes.
back in 1993.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
And yeah, so I think it's a cultural thing. But I think that's part of the whole pageant culture, is because you need fans that create noise. You need fans that maybe that stir controversy, because without these fans, these pageants will never survive. So that's why I feel that since the Philippines is the world's biggest pageant country, a lot of these major pageants do their best to cater to the whims of the Filipino fans. They know that without acquiescing the Filipino pageant market, their pageants will barely survive. I mean, they know that.
Correct.
They know that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they do.
I mean, do you agree? I mean, Mark, what do you think?
Yes, I agree with that. And now what knows that? He knows that.
Yes, he does.
That is
Yes, he does.
why, like what Peter said, everything is orchestrated. And when he does something, Filipino fans react. And when
Correct.
Filipino fans react, automatically it will be viral. So, so he's just taking advantage of that as well. That's why I admire him for that. He knows that and he's using it to his advantage.
Mhm. That's true. Okay,
So Rafa, what's going on with this whole it's even kind of seeped to the level of the voices of authority. So now I think we've got the Miss Grand and Miss Earth rivalry. That's now elevated to the whole Global Beauties and Missosology thing. And I know, Enrique's out there on transit at the moment. I don't know if he's just landed in Brazil or whatever. And, he wasn't able to be part of this discussion. I wish he was around to kind of talk about it.
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt, Peter. Yeah, I did invite Enrique Fontes of Global Beauties to participate in our chat discussion, but he said he was going to think about it. He's actually back in Brazil right now. And that was like 4 or 5 days ago. But he never got back to me, for a final answer. So I think I sort of felt his hesitation not to participate because he did not want to create any more negativity amongst the pageant.
Which I appreciate, actually.
Yeah.
But
although I would love to interview him one-on-one and really, give him the entire platform to talk about, the reason why Global Beauties did not consider, or I think they considered Miss Earth as one of the Grand Slam pageants, but because of that scandal, that video scandal back in 2012, and I think Mark can help enlighten us about that scandal. Because of that scandal, he was compelled to remove Miss Earth from the Grand Slam category. And now, of course, MGI came into existence, and now MGI is growing and growing and growing and becoming more and more popular. He replaced Miss Earth with MGI. So that's what the origin behind the reason why Global Beauties canceled Miss Earth. Mark, I want your opinion. What do you think?
If that was the only reason for them to cancel Miss Earth as part of the roster of the Grand Slam, then I would say that's the reason is not enough. Okay, so it is not enough. It shouldn't be the major reason for them to remove Miss Earth in their roster. Why? Because that conversation between Madame Lorraine and the Russian emissaries lasted for an hour and a half. The video that was posted in the news site was for just 6 minutes. So what does that say? There is a high chance that news agency actually edited or spliced the video. And nothing was proven. Nothing was proven that Madame Lorraine accepted the bribe. And they were asking for Russia to win. During that year, Russia did not win. So,
Russia didn't win.
So in other words, even if you bring this to court, or if I sue them, I will lose my battle. That is not enough reason. So,
did Carousel take any legal action against those 2 Russian journalists or pseudo journalists?
That I haven't asked Madame Lorraine, but knowing Carousel, they probably did something, but just we're not sure about it. They're always quiet about things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they are.
Okay. Well, somebody said, let me see. I'm reading in the comments section. It says, Miss Earth rivalry started with Nawat. He paid Global Beauties to delist Miss Earth, to remove Miss Earth.
That's not true.
Is that true? I don't know.
That's just rumor. That's just a rumor. So let's not jump to conclusions. It's just a rumor.
And then Wilma says, Nawat uses the Filipino fans for controversy. It's all business for him. That's why we will not win an MGI crown. And Filipinos fall for it, which is kind of crazy. Agree?
I agree with all of it except for we will not win. Nawat is a businessman. He's a businessman.
Yes.
Please note.
Yep.
He knows what he's doing. Everything will be like what Peter said, everything is orchestrated. We will win in due time.
In
But
due
yes,
course. Correct.
And it's very true that he's really using the Filipino fans. It's so obvious.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And the
well, that's
fans
interesting.
bite. The fans
Indeed.
bite.
Indeed, they do all the time. Even the votings. My God, have you seen the votings in this last pageant? It gave me a headache. People were voting intensely. So,
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Well, okay. Well, the Philippine representative to MGI in what was it, 2019, 2018 rather, Eva Catalinjug. Okay, she was interviewed by one of these vloggers, and she basically let it all out. She said that Nawat basically used her to sort of like appease to the Filipino fans, and she felt really used. And also, that's the reason why she did not make the cut, because she was led to believe by Nawat that she was going to make it. And do you remember that footage where Nawat said that next year Philippines will win, meaning 2018, referring to Eva Patalinjug? But of course, it never happened. So she was utterly devastated. And now defenders of MGI are saying, well, she wasn't really that good during the preliminary competition. She was over the top with her catwalk, and she didn't really, she was horrible in the interview, so forth and so on. So I really don't know, because I wasn't there. So well, I shouldn't say. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to believe anymore, Peter. I really don't know. What do you
Look,
think?
I don't think anybody should be going into a competition thinking that it's theirs anyway. Whatever the rumors were, it's like, 2018 Philippines are going to win. I think it would be seriously naive for a Filipino to go into that competition thinking that it's theirs. It's
Right.
just, yeah. So I can't really ride with that, and I won't. But look, it wasn't her time, and it wasn't her competition either. Was she the best? Well, there were better girls there at that time. So personally, she wasn't even on my list, for my top 10. So yeah, I think the Philippines will win Miss Grand eventually. And Nawat, it'll be when Nawat says so.
Right. Okay. All right. Okay. So why do you think? Okay. I know there's this love and hate relationship that exists between MGI and Missosology. In the during its early stage, Missosology was gung ho about MGI. They heavily promoted the pageant. They claimed that it's going to be one of the biggest pageants. Eventually, but all of a sudden, Missosology canceled MGI as one of the big 5 pageants, and I'm not really clear about the reason why. I mean, any of you have any idea? I mean, fans, do you have any idea why?
Yeah. Look, I wish Rick was here from Missosology to kind of talk about this as well, because I know he feels very strongly about it. And if anything, he's probably been doing and making all the calls. But I was my first Miss Grand International in Bangkok. Powie and his team were there, and they were reporting on behalf of Missosology. And that, towards the end, something happened, and I wasn't privy to it. No one would tell me what was going on. When we had finally come out of that pageant, there were talks about Nawat suing Missosology, and there was a court case going on, and la 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 la. When I was there, all I saw was good stuff. So all of the reporting and whatever came out must have happened backstage. I didn't see any of that, but I thought we were all having a good time. And when we left Thailand, it hit the fan. So I would love to know what happened there and what's going on, and why there seems to be this blanket ban on Missosology for MGI. I don't get it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That sounds legit. Okay, a fan wrote, it's not a rumor. Remember when Nawat paid Miss Intercontinental, so Miss Thailand would win the pageant? And Nawat asked Missosology to include his pageant as a major pageant in 2014, despite being a newbie. Okay, well, I I don't know what I don't know what to believe, because people can just write anything, unless there's an actual proof that refers, to this statement. I really don't know what to believe, because I really wish, I would love to do a one-on-one interview with Nawa and ask him, myself. But we'll see. Maybe
You'll
eventually
probably never get the real answer, though, Rafa.
I
That's the
know,
fun thing about
Yeah.
I know,
You'll never
I know,
hear
because again, from a business standpoint, it's not very good. It's not very wise to talk bad about your own company anyway, about your own pageant.
Correct.
So it's not.
I
Yeah.
feel as though we are delving into the QAnon of pageants. We're kind
Exactly.
of getting into this now. I find all of these conspiracy theories fascinating, really fascinating. And you've got our viewers here saying, it's not a rumor. This is what happened. It's been proven. It's like, where? I would love to see that proof. Especially if the people involved haven't publicly come out to refute any of this or even confirm it. Where are these people getting their rumors? So know somebody who works backstage who heard this. I'm like, give us some proof. We can't be. Yeah, I don't get it.
Agree.
Yeah, agree. Okay, all right, that's fair. Well, of course. I mean, Mark, come on. Do you like MGI as a pageant?
Okay. As a pageant.
As a pageant.
Thank you for clarifying that.
As a pageant.
As a
not
pageant.
About, yeah.
Yeah. As a pageant, I watched their show just this year, and I'm impressed when it comes to its production. And I think you have to give credit where credit is due. So they did well in their production.
Okay. Would you say it's better than Miss Earth's or equal?
I think they're on the same footing when it comes to production.
Yeah.
So same footing.
Peter, do you agree with Mark?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, I can't fault the production. If anything, my criticisms stem from being there. I know that with the contestants for Miss Grand, from what I saw and what I experienced, they were treated very, very well. Food insecurity was never an issue. Even the supporting teams and the fans were treated well by the organization as well. There was always those boundaries that you didn't cross. It was quite similar to the way that Miss Universe had run things too. I will even go to, as far as saying, I enjoyed my experience at Miss Grand International more than I had enjoyed my experience at Miss World. Because I had attended Miss World and it was very haphazard. So
it's boring. Miss World is boring.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Was that an understatement on my part? No, just kidding. Yeah,
Miss
Miss World. When I went to London to attend Miss World 2011, I thought I was really looking forward to a lot of excitement and pageantry, but I was utterly disappointed. It was like that was a 3-hour long show, and I spent 85% just like looking, staring at the ceiling. Believe it or not. Yeah, it was just like I don't think I'll be able to attend Miss World ever again. And then when MGI went to Las Vegas in 2016, I attended MGI back then, and I was just utterly amazed by the production. Yeah. It was grandiose. It was amazing, and the production team, the crew was very professional. They really took care of the girls. They took care of the media. So in a way, MGI is on the same level as Miss Universe as far as treating its contestants very well, and also the media. So yeah.
And you know what? The thing that I will say too, in the 2 or 3 Miss Grand International pageants that I've been to, I have witnessed personally now what's going out into the audience and talking to people. He had come up, to me a couple of times, just out of the blue, saying, "How did you like the show? Did you enjoy that?"
Right.
So he would actually, if you were lucky enough to be around him, he would go up to you and talk to you. And the last, and I don't believe that's Carousel's
strength
tactic. I've been to a couple of things. It's like, oh, look, there's Miss Lorraine having a cigarette at the bar and all of that, kind of separate from everybody. But, you knew where she was. Whereas with Nawat, he will work the room. He will go around and talk to you, ask what you think, who's your favorite, and which really contributed to the whole festivities of it all. But yeah, and with my personal thing, I actually really enjoyed my experience with Miss Grand, with Miss Earth. I had my moments. Uh, I, and I don't know if it was a carousel thing or a fan thing, but I felt so much more political when I was at Miss Earth. Yeah, and I don't know if it was because I was influenced by the people around me, or I don't know what it was. It was a different feeling altogether.
Mhm. Okay. Okay,
All right.
that's a fair assessment. Okay, I'm reading some of the comments again on the YouTube channel. One viewer, Jess 02909, says, I don't think MGI was ever in Missosology's big pageant category anyway. Is that true? He also said that some of these allegations appeared in Missosology articles. Okay, yeah, I think I remember having read that. One viewer, Joe Van Donaire, says MGI queens always did the war first, but Miss Earth never retaliates because Miss Earth queens have class. Okay, is that debatable? Is that debatable?
No, that's not debatable. Miss Earth Queens have class. They do have class.
Okay. Okay, now, Mark, let me ask you something. Now, Peter, you can always chime in anytime you want. When Miss Ecuador won Miss Earth 2016, there was quite a bit of controversy. Okay, the former national director for Denmark, who at that time was a very good friend of mine, wrote or posted on his then existing Facebook page that he had seen a male visitor enter the room of Miss Ecuador and then allegedly spent the night there. And he also saw that same man come out of her bedroom. And so he assumed that that man was one of the major sponsors for Miss Earth, and that man also happened to be a fellow Ecuadorian. So enlighten me, please. Is there any truth to that allegation?
Here's the thing about sponsors. Even if you give $1 million pesos or 2 million pesos to Carousel, if you're not invited as a judge, what you have to say in the final result really is nothing. You won't have any say on how the girl will win. Just like to explain to you their judging process. It's very strict, actually. Miss Earth is one of the few major pageants who would get a third-party auditor to ensure that the process is followed to a T and that the scores are computed precisely. Even if Lorraine or Sir Mon would want a girl to win, SGV, also known as Ernst & Young, will not allow that if the scores does not say that. So that's what I can say. The judging process is very strict. We have an independent auditor who even checks. I'll tell you this, when I judge the preliminary competition, even if I'll just go to the men's room or if I'll just get a drink, the auditors would always get my score sheets. And every time I write my scores, they will sometimes look at my scores to check if I'm writing it correctly. So that's how strict they are. So even if I am a sponsor, let's pretend. Let's say I was that sponsor and I was that on that judging panel. There are other 4 or 5 judges who have their independent minds. Even if I give 100 to Miss Ecuador, but what if the other judges did not agree with that?
Right.
She will not win, right? So,
yeah, but
look, I'm going to put it out there. I think that we are more likely to get a rigged result with Miss Grand than Miss Earth. I'll put it out there. You know how much I love Miss Grand, and I do appreciate aspects of Miss Earth too. I think from an outsider's point of view, we are more likely to have the organization choose the winner at Miss Grand than we would at Miss Earth.
It's
So
very
I'm putting it
difficult to
out
rid
there.
Miss
It's
Earth.
only my
Yeah.
opinion. Know what? Don't sue me. It's just from what, it's just my opinion.
Well,
And
no,
I'm living for it. And you have every right to choose your winner, whatever.
well, yeah. So, Peter, based on your statement, one would think that MGI is following Miss World's footsteps because Julia Morley
Correct.
does exactly the same thing. She
Correct.
chooses the winner.
Mhm.
And the panel of judges she puts up there is just nothing but a facade. They don't mean anything to her.
Yep.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that's why the majority of her judges are either former Miss World winners who have become, her close buddies, her close friends, or maybe a choreographer or a makeup artist that works for her, so forth and so on. Yeah, so I understand, but I can tell you that Miss Universe, I know the Miss Universe judging system. I've judged the Miss Universe state pageant, the Miss New Hampshire USA state pageant before, and they are very, very strict. And they do use legitimate, high reputable accounting firm. And so, yeah, but with Miss Earth, I mean, the reason I brought that up is, actually, Mark, what about the fact that this would fall down into the issue of security? Because how in the world was that man allowed to enter Miss Ecuador's bedroom?
I have no idea. We can only all assume. I have no idea.
Okay.
Which is why I agree with you. That's an opportunity area for carousel production. And when I had a conversation with Madame Lorraine, I even suggested some of those things. So what's a good thing about carousel is they're very receptive to feedback. They're very open to it.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Now, this question, why do you think it's possible for Global Beauties to reconsider Miss Earth as a Grand Slam pageant? And do you think that Missosology can also reconsider MGI as a big pageant? Peter, let's start with you.
I think anything is possible. I think think the best people to answer that kind of question would be Enrique and Rick. I'm sure they have their reasons why they admit these pageants. But for me, this is my opinion. Anything is possible. I think, like everything else, these pageants have to, hello, have to just kind of like prove themselves. Look at that. I got carried away. The next minute, it was like down to my crotch. Look, I think it'll be a matter of time before that happens. I know Rick and I know Enrique personally. I've known them for many years. They're not unreasonable. It's not about having a vendetta or anything like that. But I think it's just a matter of time. If anything, and I will put it out there, I think all of this negativity is not from the media outlets. It is fueled and started by the fans. I think it's a fan thing.
Okay. All right. So you are very hopeful that both pageant websites will reconsider those pageants.
For sure. Absolutely. I think it's only going to be a matter of time before that happens. I would love to hear Missosology's take on it. I would love to hear Global Beauties' take on it. I don't think that either one of them will say, nope, never, ever. We're going to never, ever cover any of these pageants. I don't think that they're unreasonable like that. But I do believe that a lot of the conflict is fueled by the fans, not by Global Beauties or Missosology per se.
Correct. Okay. Mark, would you agree?
I agree with you. Time can tell. Their decisions might change. And indeed, the rivalry is really coming from the fans. And that's the exciting part. The exciting part is
correct.
We have two competing pageants trying their best to entertain people, also make a difference. But it's really the fans. At the end of the day, they're the ones really creating this rivalry. So I'm just really hopeful. Hopefully, time can tell that these two pageant portals will will hopefully consider either Miss Earth or Miss World as one of the biggest. So there.
I think ignoring those pageants will be to their detriment. We cannot deny the fact that the Miss Earth and Miss Grand are forces to be reckoned with, and to ignore it will be at your own peril. You cannot be discounting such a huge part of the pageant community completely. So I think it's a matter of time, and I think it does happen, because I think the Missosology and Global Beauties will suffer if they continue to ignore or omit either pageant. That's just my opinion.
Okay. All right. So as far
Where does
as
critical beauty stand, Rafa?
Yes. What's
you
your
know what?
stand?
I really don't know, because so MGI is only like 9 years old, and I'm gonna give it like a few more years. Then I'll decide whether or not it's a legitimately major Grand Slam, whatever, intergalactic big pageant. No, I don't know. See, that I've been asked many, many times, Rafa, how does critical beauty, label both pageants? I really don't know. It's the same question, that is thrown to me all the time. Rafa, who is your favorite Miss Universe ever? I don't know. Miss Universe has not, stopped from happening. It still continues. So if I were to say, okay, my favorite Miss Universe ever was such and such, then what about like 20 years from now, if a new winner, happens to be much more spectacular, much prettier and better than my favorite? So will I change my choice back then? So I mean, those are things that really bother me. Wait until each pageant has ceased to exist. Then we'll reconsider every title holder. Then we can decide for ourselves which one we think is the best or our favorites. But for now, let's continue enjoying these pageants. Let's continue supporting these pageants. Let's continue being entertained by these pageants. They're, for the time being, I think they're here to stay. Yeah. Now, I meant to ask you guys too about platform and advocacy, because I know, MGI.
Advocacy?
Advocacy. Like Filipinos love to say advocacy, Well, in the United States, as an American, it's advocacy. But every time I hear advocacy, Anyway, it's just preference, I guess. But anyway, yeah, as far as advocacy or platform goes, I know that Miss Earth focuses on the environmental and, Mother Earth, saving Mother Earth issue. Whereas MGI is the whole idea of stop the war and violence. Which advocacy do you think is more realistic? Mark, let's start with you.
Environment. It still holds true until today. If you could just remember last year, a majority of the major pageants stopped doing what they were doing. Let's look at them one by one. Miss International, the main advocacy of Miss International is education and cultural exchange and cultural understanding. Because of the pandemic, there's no exchange. So they had to stop, right?
Right.
Miss Universe is confidently beautiful. You go to different organizations, empower people, empower women. But because of the pandemic, they stopped. Miss World, it's the same thing. They do a lot of charitable activities. You cannot do charitable activities. However, Miss Earth, the goal of Miss Earth is to always put environment at the center and create awareness. They did not stop. They still had their pageant because they use another platform to ensure that the core is consistent with their activities. So if you remove all the glitz and the glamour, remove the glitz, the glamour, and the stage, what will be left will be the core, which is why Miss Earth has that very, very strong core in advocacy.
Right. Yeah. Peter, would you agree?
Yeah. 100%. I'm with Mark on that one. I think the brand, the message itself is definitely a lot stronger than Stop the War and the Violence. I think Stopping the War and Violence is very vague, and it kind of comes across a lot of things. It covers everything, whereas the environment is very specific and it's very now. We have been talking about world peace and stop the war and violence for decades. It's like since the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and it's not necessarily something that we could do anything about. Whereas when it comes to the environment, there are practical steps and results that can be garnered from this, which I really appreciate Miss Earth for. Of course, there's always room for improvements. There's always room to improve the way that the pageant is run to be less, so that they could decrease and lighten their carbon footprints. When you compete for Miss Earth, you still need to take an airline and a plane to get to the competition. I'm sure there are ways that they can offset the greenhouse emissions for that one that they could consider. Mark, maybe you can take this to Carousel to maybe consider. The way that they would maybe travel around the country could be a little bit more environmentally sustainable. There's always continuous improvement that we can look at. And that is something I know Miss Earth has been looking at and working towards. I can't help but feel as though Miss Grand, with Stop the War and Violence, yes, it's raising awareness, but I can't help but feel that a lot of it seems to be lip service, and a lot of it seems to be more of a marketing ploy as opposed to an absolute cause. Yeah, I don't know, Rafa.
I would agree. I would agree totally with that statement, Peter. And I think both pageants, the more they endure, the more they will find themselves sort of like interdependent with each other. I think as they evolve through time, they will find themselves engaging in some sort of a symbiotic relationship. Because the way I see it is because, Miss Earth exists. Why? Because humans continue to pollute Mother Earth. We humans continue to throw trash, litter, produce plastic, do all this stupid stuff like abuse animals, all these stuff. Why does MGI exist? It's because we humans continue to kill and fight each other. So, there's this big, humongous symbiotic relationship between the two pageants, and they both need each other. That's why you see a crossover of contestants from one pageant to another, because they're all interrelated. Yeah. Right. And as long as the human condition tends to become corrupt and evil and bad and greedy, there's always going to be a Miss Earth and a Miss Grand International. It's logical.
I think a lot of it has got to come from the contestants themselves as well.
Exactly.
In my experience in seeing these contestants, they go to these competitions to compete, not necessarily because they believe in a cause. It's because they want to be on stage. So the one thing that I do appreciate Miss Earth for is they do have their finger on the pulse with the contestants who are serious about the cause, who are going to go and say something about it, and who will be a willing ambassador as opposed to just being a celebrity. Yeah, I think a lot of the girls do compete not so much because they believe in environmental causes or they believe in stopping the war and the violence. It's because they want to be a beauty queen. So if anything, what we need from these directors and from the owners is to really be a little bit more strict when they're scanning these people. It's like, yeah, you're just here for the glory. You're not really here for the work. So that's what I think anyway.
Yeah, and I totally agree with Peter. And that is why sometimes on the finals night of Miss Earth, people are surprised that the favorites are not in the top. And you see girls who you did not realize, why are they there? And there's a very good reason why they are there. They either got high scores during the intelligence round, or the organization simply removed them because they're not serious about it. Okay, so again, I agree with you. So these girls are given the right platform. The only question is, are they serious about the job? Because it is a job. And a lot of Miss Earth winners have already shared this. When you win Miss Earth, you're not a model. You're actually a spokesperson for the environment. And to a point that actually Miss Earth is one of the most well-traveled queens as well. They get tired of traveling and promoting the environmental causes. And there were some queens who even got sick because of it. Okay, the question is, are you prepared for that job? So I agree with Peter.
Yes. Oh yeah, I totally agree with both of you guys. Yes. So it is.
What are the fans saying, Rafa?
Let me see. Oh, okay. So we have one fan who says that the better question is which organization is true and committed to its advocacy? Okay. I mean, I wouldn't even dare to answer that question. I wouldn't know.
No.
I wouldn't
No.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a very tough question.
Right.
Yeah. So, but let me see. One fan says MGI is just marketing, not a genuine advocacy. Agree?
Yeah.
So it has.
All right.
Well, yeah, because like the whole idea of like stop the war and violence to me it's just too general. Why can't MGI just sort of like be more specific? Like I was thinking of violence against women. A lot of contestants have spoken out against violence against women. Harassment, sexual abuse. Let's be more specific. You can say a lot of things about sexual violence and domestic violence against women, gender-based violence. I know at least 3 or 4 Miss Universe contestants who have as their advocacy this year gender-based violence. So why not just focus on issues revolving around women and girls and whatnot? So yeah, I think they should really be more specific. So yeah,
Agree with you.
you know what I
Very
mean?
true.
Mm-hmm.
Agree with you.
Okay. One pageant says the most boring pageant as from today's Miss World. It looks like a graduation ball. Okay. All right. I agree. Okay. I am really wishing that these two pageants coexist peacefully. MGI is promising, but Nawat should stop fueling the hate. Okay. Do you think Nawat is fueling the hate?
Oh.
Yes, you know what? It's well documented. Yes, he is. It's well
Mark.
documented.
Yeah.
It's well documented. It's all over. It's all over social media.
Yeah.
It's all over social media. I don't need to. Proof is out there. It's all over social media.
But
it's all open to interpretation, though. The stuff that he comes out there, it's provocative. It's what you get out of it. So I think whatever he comes out there, it's very clever because it is provocative. But then people come out with their, it's like, oh, it's proven. It's, this is what he said. It's like, that's not what he said.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably what he implied. But then it's all very, but he's good like that.
I think that's where his business savviness is coming in. He knows when to tickle people. So
right. Yeah, it's one of his marketing strategies. And I think I mentioned that in my blog, praising MGI because of Nawat. I mean, I think he's a remarkable leader. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's business savvy. And of course, in order to gain publicity, you have to do something scandalous or controversial to attract the public, and of course provoke the ire of fans from both sides, from all sides, because he knows that fans feed on these controversies, and they talk about. He wants all these fans to talk incessantly about his pageant, and that's why it's going to last a very, very long time. So do you think MGI will eventually buy Miss Earth? Will that ever happen?
That will not happen.
What?
What do you mean it's not going to happen?
That will not happen.
Is that even a possibility? I mean, you came up with that controversy. What?
I don't think it will happen.
No. No.
Probably if he becomes part of the PR team, I would have my second thoughts. But as the owner, I don't think so.
No.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That is a good one. Yeah, that is a good one. Yeah. So, I would love to see from my standpoint, I would love to see MGI develop into. I think the way that I see it right now, based on what I've seen, 2 weeks ago when Miss USA was crowned. Oh yeah, Miss USA won MGI, and of course the current Miss Earth is also Miss USA. Woo hoo! Go America!
Congratulations.
Thank you. So yeah, I would love to see MGI continue its great work, its great production. I love following all the five finalists on their social media account. I just love seeing these five women create a strong bond between each other. And I think that's, to pageant fans, that's very, very attractive. I would want to see, more personality from each of the top five contestants and whatnot. The sisterhood, I think, among NGI top five is far stronger, let's say, compared to sisterhood among the top four in Miss Earth. Because,
Right.
you know what I mean? Because like the top four Miss Earth, they spend like, maybe less than a week together, like promoting sponsor related activities. Whereas with MGI top five, they stay in Thailand and they spend literally 2 weeks, like enjoying activities and whatnot, So I really wish, for MGI to continue that tradition.
Right. Yep, for sure.
Mhm.
I just like to
Mark,
share something that happens in Miss Earth. All the elemental queens, the court, it's only in Miss Earth where the elemental queens are allowed to join any activities if the main winner is, let's say, invited to a certain avenue or a certain place. So when it comes to activities post winning, I think they're one of the busiest elemental queens or runners up in any of the big
Okay.
pageants. Because the Miss Earth winner, this is something that came from Kat and Ibasco. If a Miss Earth winner wins and they get invited, let's say, to Egypt or the United Nations or Mexico, they have an option to choose either to have a chaperone to be with them or the elemental queens to be with them. And of course, the queens would always choose to have their runners up with them. So it's something that's quite unique. And if in case the Miss Earth winner would not make it, they always would send the elemental court.
Yep.
So that's quite unique.
Which is
that
what happened
pageant.
to Diana
Yes.
Bargueda. So, yeah.
Yep. So they're like, somehow, if you get the elemental crown, you're like a winner as well.
Now here's another interesting question. Despite the rivalry between Miss Earth and Miss Grand International, will we ever see two reigning queens on the same stage one of these days?
Oh,
especially
I hope so.
especially if both current title holders are Americans. I mean, that's one of my biggest fantasies, to see both women sharing the same stage. You know what I mean? Because we've seen Miss World and Miss Universe title holders together on the same stage. When they go to Indonesia to be invited by Putri Indonesia to reign, to crown their representatives for Miss World, Miss Universe, etc. Why can't they do the same thing with Miss Earth or Miss Grand International? Invite those two queens on the same stage together. Two queens in one frame. Woohoo! I would love to see that for sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That will be a treat. But hopefully in the future, I guess when they are invited to a single event, that can happen. But I hope by that time the fire has been, or the escalated toxicity has already been gone. So, but for now, let's pray for that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
I think it's a bit of I think we're getting a little bit distracted with that whole thing, Miss Grand and Miss Earth. We need to remember the fact that Nawat had set up Miss Grand to topple Miss Universe. So his eye is in beating Miss Universe, not Miss Earth. Miss Earth is just a side thing for him to kind of add to these. He'll be poking Miss Earth. Miss Earth is not his final goal. His final goal is Miss Universe. It's to topple Miss Universe. That's why he had set up Miss Grand for. So Miss Earth is just small chips to know what. It's a side thing. Let's not lose sight of what his final goal is. So that's the interesting topic for me. When is he going to take over the whole Miss Universe thing? And when will Miss Grand topple Miss Universe from its perch? That's the one thing that I think is worth watching and observing for the coming years.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Well, that, or I would love to see all title holders of the 4 big 5, 6 pageants now share the same stage. That would be amazing. Now let's talk about the Miss Earth crown and the Miss Grand International crown. Which crown would you rather wear and why? Let's start with Peter.
Oh God.
It's
Oh
a tricky
God.
question.
Yeah, it is a tricky question. Both have something so beautiful to offer. I do love the older Miss Grand Crown compared to what they have now. I think the first Miss Grand Crown was quite beautiful. What I do love about the Miss Earth Crown are the different stones that the countries and national directors have donated to put on the Miss Earth Crown. It's just such a beautiful sentiment. And Mark, you can probably confirm this for me. I'm pretty sure that Australia had donated that big yellow stone right at the top of
they did.
the crown. Yep. So I do like the Miss Earth crown for that. And I will, if I was to wear a crown today, it would be the Miss Earth crown.
Okay. All right. What about you, Mark? Which crown would you wear? I know what you're going to say.
Yes, I've seen the actual Miss Earth crown up close, and I even there's a picture of it, even me putting it on necklace. So I've held it. It's heavy, and it's beautiful in person. So I choose the Miss Earth crown, and it's quite expensive as well. And I think the only part wherein they really need to improve on is the base of that crown, because the gems are too heavy. There are a lot of gems. It's too heavy, and you could see the crown almost collapsing. And they really need to fix that part. I've seen it up close, so it's heavy. So
okay. Well, guess what, guys? I don't like heavy crowns. Okay. And as much as the Miss Earth crown looks very precious and wonderfully crafted and just remarkably beautiful, I kind of would lean towards the MGI crown, only because of its overall design, and it's much lighter, and also from different angles. To me personally, it looks more classic. It looks more regal and elegant.
Right.
So that's why I would prefer to wear the MGI crown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I've always had an issue with expensive crowns, Rafa. You know this. The kind of things that it's such an excess. Yes, whenever people talk about so and so has the most expensive crown, who gives a shit? Use this money for your cause. So Miss Earth, yes, you may have the most expensive crown. Put that towards your environmental causes. Are the gems ethically sourced, for example? And yes, we do need a crown to kind of, stand there as a symbol of this and that, but we could do that cheaply, all the other stuff, all that money. Put that towards your cause. Let's set up solar power fields. Let's set up wind farms. Let's set up sustainable programs for sourcing fish in the ocean, that kind of stuff. I don't care how much you spent or paid a crown designer. I think that's quite almost gross. When you think about it, when you're talking about stop the war and violence, put that money towards refugee programs. I mean, what the hell is wrong with you people? It's it's almost like a slap in the face, for everything that we stand for. So if there are any national directors listening out there, or owners of pageants, just don't be so tone deaf. The money that you're putting towards production and all that, scale that back and put it towards your cause. What's wrong with you?
Or better security, maybe.
Better security.
I hear you, Peter.
Keep me out of your backstage.
I guess what Peter is trying to say, it's really not the crown. It's what you do after you get crowned, right, Peter?
Yeah. Right. It's what you do after you get the crown, and the existing crowns are there already. It's already there.
Now,
do
Mark,
something with the platform.
Right. Now, again, continuing our discussion with the crown, Mark, do you know if the the outgoing, or rather, when the outgoing queen crowns the new queen, does the old outgoing queen gets to keep the Miss Earth crown, or does she get
No.
a? Does she even get any type of tiara?
No, she doesn't get any tiara. However, to my last recall, they're given medallions.
Oh,
Ooh,
okay.
okay.
That's good. At least there's something, you know. I mean, compared to Miss Grand International, where the outgoing queen has to relinquish her crown, but yet it's replaced by a similar crown, but maybe perhaps less expensive. But nevertheless,
They look alike though, don't they?
They look alike.
They do.
Yeah, they look alike, and I think that's one of the traditions that I like about NGI.
What's the purpose of that though? Is it a cheap, is it a replica that they were getting? I mean, what? Yeah, what is it?
I don't know.
Is it just another opportunity for Nawa to get onto the stage, maybe, and be seen by people?
Probably. Maybe it adds up to the grandiose quality of this pageant.
Oh, I like that. Yep.
You know what I mean?
I actually think that ceremony is a trademark, and it's a good thing. It's something that's unique
I agree.
to Miss Grand. It's a trademark. They should continue doing that. It's unique.
Yeah.
It's when you see that, it's MGI.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Listen, guys, this has been a very interesting, enlightening, informative discussion on Miss Earth and Miss Grand International. Now, to our viewers out there who are wondering where there's only three of us, I explained earlier that neither Hector nor Phil could not make it tonight because of emergency. So hopefully they should be able to join us next time. But Mark Gatchalian from Miss Earth Crown magazine, I can't thank you enough for inviting, coming to our show. And hopefully we'll continue with our discussions.
Sure. Thank you so much for the invite.
I'm subscribing, Mark.
I won't.
Course,
I already subscribed.
Oh, you did? Oh, thank you. Yeah, appreciate it. And of course, Peter, my love, I can't thank you enough. You know, I don't know what to do with my life without you. And you make me smile every time I see your face, you know. I mean, I was hoping to see you disguised as Adele or Lizzo, but you came up as being you. And I was like, shocked. Oh my God, what happened to Peter?
Yeah, we've got Arctic storms going at the moment. I don't know if you could hear, the hail and the rain intermittently.
Oh, no.
I mean, the sun's just come out now, but yeah, we are going through some Arctic storms at the moment. So it's too cold. My foundation probably would have frozen on my face. And whatever headpiece I would have put on, I couldn't take off, but I had to go and make sure the fire was going and all of that. I didn't have time to go and dress up today, but I put it down to the carousel curse.
Or the MGI curse.
Or the MGI curse.
Either way.
Yeah.
Okay.
The carousel curse sounds better though, right? A little bit of alliteration. I love it. Yeah. Love Miss Earth. Don't get me wrong. Love you, Miss Earth. I do. Everything I say comes from a place of betterment and improvement. And being a Filipino myself, I do love what Carousel is doing. I want it to last. I want it to succeed because we deserve to have a pageant that we call our own. So whatever comes out, it's not because I hate Miss Earth. I don't hate Miss Earth. It comes from a place of love and improvement. And it's the same with Miss Grand. Miss Grand we can own as a Southeast Asian pageant. And it's any pageant that's going to take on the Latin Americans and the South Americans. I am all for it. I am there. I'm living for it. Bring it on.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, my dear beloved
Thank
guest.
you.
Thank you so much.
Weekend. And it's been a pleasure. And to all our Critical Beauty Salon viewers, thank you for viewing this wonderful discussion with two amazing pageant enthusiasts. So
we want to hear their thoughts. We want to know what everybody thinks.
Yeah, please, comment down below on the discussion box.
Comment down below.
Give us your thoughts and whatnot. Yeah, that's right. So until the next time, I wish you, both of you, a happy weekend, a great weekend, and a great week ahead. Virtual hug. I'm sending you all my virtual hug, and hopefully this pandemic will go away, and hopefully we'll be able to see each other in person. Okay, have a good night.
At the
Good day.
next Miss
Mabuhay.
Earth pageant. We'll see you then.
That's right.
You take care, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Love you all.
Enjoy your
Bye-bye.
weekend. Bye.